and Jam Music Festival in Tucson, Arizona with Jason Hann from the String Cheese
Hello.
Incident.
Hi, Abby.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Thanks so much for being interviewed this evening.
Right on.
So you and Michael played as EOTO last night. So I want to start by talking about the origins of EOTO.
Okay.
When and why did you and Michael decide to create this side project?
When I started to come out to Colorado to practice with String Cheese back in 2004, most of the time I would stay at Travis's place, and everyone else has families, and you know, after practice sometimes it's a little more of a wind down time. But Travis had a setup at his house where it's kind of like he's got a ton of instruments set up, and we would just jam at nighttime, starting around like 10 o'clock. We'd go till like 3 or 4 in the morning, sunrise and stuff. And we just kept making that more fun for ourselves. And eventually we got into where he was using a looper, an Echoplex, and he was looping himself playing bass. And then I was playing drums, and just to make it more fun for us, I had mentioned that I've been working with Ableton Live, which was in its real infant stages back then. And we started incorporating that into what we were doing. Then we started recording ourselves, but you know, just the fact that we were making up stuff all night and having a really good time with it was like, oh, maybe it's something we want to try live at some point. So it was never done with like an intention to let's put a group together, but it came out that way. And then Jamie Janover of Sonic Bloom said, hey, how about for your first gig you do the first Sonic Bloom? And it just all sounded like the right thing to do. So that was our first gig.
What year was that?
2006.
Okay.
So we just went on 10 years this year of EOTO.
Nice.
So it was good.
That's
a lot
great.
to show, like over 1,000 shows later and stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
So
yeah. So tonight the Transcendent set is you, King, Travis, and Kyle.
Yes.
So what is different and special about this side project, and how is the dynamic different than when you guys play as String Cheese?
Yeah, I mean, well, part of the big difference is that we don't have Keith and Billy with us, so we miss our bass player and our superhero leader and stuff. But the point of Transcendent isn't necessarily to you know, be as a String Cheese reference, except that it's the 4 of us in the band, and we're definitely playing more electronic style of music. And so we have our EOTO set up there, and adding like Kang and Kyle to the mix, you know, all of a sudden we have all these new ideas to feed off of what we're playing, because you know their style of taste and what they play, and they bring their own inspiration to, you know, those instruments. So we hear that in EOTO world, and it's like, wow, let's do that, because it makes us do stuff that we haven't done before. You know, so in keeping with, you know, for the most part, an electronic type of vibe, then add those guys in the mix, and then we get to play around in that zone for, I think tonight it's an hour and 15 minutes.
Nice.
So that'll be really good. And we might throw in some String Cheese songs and do it in that sort of style.
Great. Have you guys played Gem and Jam before? Have you played as EOTO?
EOTO we've done. We used to play on the early ones when they had it at the Rialto Theater. I think we did 2 years at the Rialto Theater, 2009 and 10. And I think we did 2008 when they had it at a club called The Hut. You know, like 200 people or something like that. So it's great to see the festival grow. And then over these last few years, we've had Gem and Jam has reached out for EOTO to play, but something's always been coming up, either a String Cheese rehearsal or a string of shows, so we're really excited to come back. We love this festival.
Yeah, it's a really good one. Yeah, so you know, you've been playing festivals for a really long time as String Cheese and as EOTO, as a guest musician. How have you seen these events evolve over time?
Oh, it's really unbelievable. It's kind of one of the, you know, the really fun parts about being around the scene, you know, for an amount of time. Like seeing Gem and Jam, it was one of our first festivals, you know, so we were like to see it grow into, you know, what it's become on this property. Now they've added camping to their thing, and I mean, I love the lineup. The lineup Mike Gordon's going to play tonight, and just there's so many things about it that's going to be really cool. Is it Gem Jaws or Jaw Gems? Jaw Gems.
Jaw Gems.
Yeah. It's got me confused because I'm seeing them play here and stuff. They were really killer. It was great seeing their set yesterday. So, you know, it's awesome to see it grow. Same with Sonic Bloom. Sonic Bloom's moved around a bunch. but they finally found their home, like about 9-10 years later. And and so we're seeing these promoters and these friends of ours just take everything to the next level, and we're all trying to do the same thing, seeing our friends are participating in festivals in different ways, whether they're working at them or they're just going to them at squeezing in their time between everything else that they've grown into, so it's really incredible to see.
Do you think that the festival culture has changed over time in terms of the attendees, the vibe? Have you seen the culture change?
Well, on my part, it's interesting to see at least the people who are, throughout the years they're becoming more family oriented. Maybe they can't get to as many shows, or some people are like, okay, well, I'm at a point where I want to see the rest of the world, and they're still planning maybe the festival travel for more international travel, or seeing some different things like that. But I would say, essentially, it seems like, just looking at general sweeping observation, is people are just continuing to do very similar things, but there's a groundwork that's being laid by festivals that are starting out, that are going for a long time, that are introducing new things to do at a festival, like different types of participation, different ways of learning during the day before all the music starts, and you can be sort of active and find out more things if you choose to do that, if you're able to wake up that early.
Yeah, totally. If you're alive at that time.
Yeah, exactly. So it's good to see that, that spirit being just as strong as ever.
Totally. What are some of your favorite venues to play?
Like in the country? Or
in the world, anywhere. Some of your favorite venues.
Wow. That's always a really tricky question. Red Rocks is easily in there. That's really cool. As far as an event, I love Shambhala up in Canada. We haven't played there in a while. We need to get back to Shambhala. Note to friends. Let's see, playing out, I played at the Montreux Jazz Festival before, and that was really an incredible feeling, more just because the history of that particular festival and all the, jazz and great artists that have played there. I could go, now I want to see a list in front of me because I don't want to leave anything out, but yeah, there's so many incredible venues that whether they create the vibe or they are the vibe, makes you play a certain way, you're inspired just by being there.
Definitely. And so before String Cheese started playing these huge massive venues, they started with smaller venues, which kind of leads into my next question about the Roots Revival Tour that you guys are doing for Winter Carnival. So for those of you that don't know, String Cheese is playing a lot of smaller venues that they used to play back in the day, like the Eldo in Crested Butte, the Fox in Boulder, these tiny little venues. So my question for you is, what made you guys decide to do this type of tour?
Well, I think it's something that we've had in the back of our mind in a long time to go about and, doing this type of tour. We've done, I guess recently in the last few years, we've done some record store promotions for some shows or from new releases. We've done some VIP settings for our New Year's shows. And when we do those settings, we do a very minimal setup. Me and Travis are playing more like, percussion, things that we're putting together. So we've been in that setting, whether it's VIP things or record store promotions, where we've had a smaller setup, and we've really enjoyed it. Like we come off of those feeling like, wow, that was great. Just to be in a space where we're not necessarily using in-ear monitors. It's just the sound of the instruments on the stage, maybe a little enhanced by monitors, but more the vibe of just going up there and making music happen without a giant production. We love the giant production, and we love, giving that experience to the fans. But it's, like musically, it's great to come back to a different setting and be expressive with the same music in a different way. And we always come away from those things like, man, what a great experience. So, especially since we've been wanting to do it, it's great to think that, well, we can fit into these small clubs that the band has historically played, and it's got its own energy already, just in the way that people are talking about it, and it's feeling like it's going to be something special.
Those are very coveted tickets, I can tell you that.
I've been hearing about it, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
I've been hearing a lot about it, so.
Yeah, definitely. So for my last question, it's a little bit different. At Sparkleberry Lane, our mission is to spread the sparkle.
Spread the sparkle.
Yeah, and we do this by encouraging everyone to live consciously. Live consciously around the music and the world that we love. So how do you spread the sparkle?
Oh wow. I probably start from a space of, I kind of smile a lot on stage just because the music's really fun. It's like genuinely fun to play, and even if there's a hard time, on stage, like sometimes with the EOTO, the gears break. Last night, my gear was messing up just like all the time. But it's kind of like you have this little base, that you start from, and if you're starting from a positive place, whatever craziness or negativity is going to come around. You make at least for me, I make that sort of my base of trying to come from a good, positive zone. Like, this is going to work out. This is going to be good. It's the right thing to try in the moment. And if it doesn't, so what? That's called life. And you fall on your face, and life isn't laid out for it to be an easy thing or for you to know all the answers. So if you're starting from a place that at least, that things are good, and the challenges I meet, that you can smile through them too. It doesn't always have to be something that that breaks you. So even if it might be the same degree of difficulty as someone else might have with it, and you just keep finding your way to get back on the path. Something knocks you on the path, or people put obstacles on that path, they knock you off, and sometimes it's a little steeper to get back up onto the path. But if you're practicing getting to that place, if you practice, once you get knocked off, what are the things that you do to get back on it? Do you go see music? Do you go to a museum and you find art that inspires you? Do you read a book from an author that that inspires you? But anything that puts you in that place of mind where you get back on the path, and you're like, yes, this is how I'm meant to be doing it. And usually, you're meant to be doing it because things feel very, very harmonious with yourself. This is the right thing to do. I'm going for it, and you go for it. And then whatever comes in your way, you might have to take a turn or two, but you get back on it and find those ways to make it easier to get back on the path. Sometimes it's really, really hard. Sometimes you fall apart. Some people fall down really hard, but pick the bike up and go forward with it.
It rarely looks like the way you think it will when you start.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And people go about their own different way, depending on how they're brought up or their experiences.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for speaking with us this evening. We're really excited about the set.